I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way, helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Look on perspective.
Hello and good evening. Saturday night is live. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm so elated to be here with you guys. You have no idea what a week, what a great and positive week this has been. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lockhart Perspective. I'm so glad to see each and every one of you here this evening. It just does my heart well. Hello, Ronnie. I see how you jumped back in the chat right quick. That's cool. Steve Willis, hello, sir. How are you? And Leaf Desi, how are you? Yes, perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. So it is so good to see everybody. You know, there's a lot of things that's going on. I got a little hay fever right now. I took a Benadryl, so please excuse me as I sneeze off and on. A lot of things going on, right? A whole lot of stuff going on. But let's talk about some of the stuff that's happening right now because as current events go, I have been looking at a lot of stuff as I've been quiet this week. And first of all, I want to thank everybody who has blessed the channel financially, for those who have sent gifts that we have needed here for the channel. I just want to take the time to say thank you because you did not have to do it, but you did do it. Now, for those of you who give the super chats, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. We were blessed this week to receive the computer, and that, excuse me, is just, my heart has melted time and time and time, just looking at the goodness of God, because without the blessings from people that He put put us on His heart, these people, these awesome people's heart, then I don't think that the blessings would have been carried out the way that they were. It was truly and honestly a work of our Father in heaven. And so here's the great part about that. We had not been able to come on live today. We put up the computer and we put up the nice little monitor and all that good stuff. And so that was awesome, right? That was all good. But it just hit me how fast things came together for us here. And when I say us, I mean you as well, because we're all co-laborers together. That's how I see it. We are co-laborers together in this thing. And yes, He is an outstanding God. Next week, there's only 14 of us right here now, and you guys are going to start to see some really exciting commercials. It seems like the Most High God just opened up the doors and the windows just started flowing in this whole week here. So next week, we have a very, very, very special guest. I don't want anybody to miss it. It is none other than the original writer, the real true writer of The Matrix. And she is also the true writer and author of The Terminator. The original book that she wrote that all makes it seem like it makes a whole lot of sense is called The Third Eye, and her name is Sophia Stewart. So she will be here with us to dig deep into the Matrix she is a physicist, and as a physicist and a mathematician and just a brilliant woman, she's going to come and share some things with us, and I think that they are quite timely. She sent her new edition this morning, and I got the Matrix 4 in my box, and so I was really excited about that, and so I'm very, very happy that we will have her to discuss some great things with us next week. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but I just love information and to hear what she has to say and how this book was her original brainchild and how she, they all got together to turn it into what it was supposed to be. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the interim. However, when I tell you that this is going to be something else, it's going to be something else. So that's next Saturday, the 23rd of January, right here on the Lockhart Perspective at 8 o'clock p.m. We will have none other than Sophia Stewart. Ronnie Man, are you in here? I see you, sir. I'm going to put you up here. There you go. I see you. How you doing there, sir?
Oh yeah, Saturday night is live.
You just can't contain yourself. There's that much going on. You just can't contain yourself. I totally get it. Look, I totally get it. So let's get right into some of the things that are going on right now. Did you guys see who the largest landowner here in the United States is? Anybody want to take a stab at it? I'm sure you guys all saw it. I saw it yesterday early in the morning, and I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely, I was horrified, really. Apparently, Bill and Melinda Gates are the largest landowners here in the United States. They have amassed about 242,000 acres of land. They have about 69,000 acres of land that's located in Louisiana. Then they've got a great deal. I think they got about 20,000 acres of land that's there in Nebraska. And then right there, Phoenix, Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 47,000 acres of land, and I could be incorrect. However, the preponderance of that land was gleaned or taken or purchased or somehow done something. Hey, Black Spring, how are you? Hey, lady, how are you? But the majority of that land that they got came from one big acquisition that they got from a group of folks the group is out in Canada. And so when you think about that, you have to really ask yourself, I know that Forbes had put together a statement based upon it, and they said, we don't know whether or not they're going to utilize some of that land for some of their philanthropic things. But yeah, there are some things that we got going on here in the United States, folks, so we really do need to look out for it, because he is so into all of this stuff that is dealing with, the crops and the land. And not only is it the land and the crops, but it's also the land, the crops, the irrigation. He's into all of it. His hands, his motley little fingers are into everything. And so is the fingertips of his handsome husband. She's a handsome woman. So yes, that is the deal. I mean, they got a lot of land. And so when you think about it, they began to acquire this land in 2017. So they haven't been in this market for very long, right? They haven't been in the land acquiring market for a long time. They have been in it for what now? This is 21. So technically, you don't even have to say 21. So because we're right there in January. So that's like what, 3 years? 3 years they've been amassing all of this land. Why do you need so much land, my friend? Unless, of course, it is to put out some of that ungodly corn and ungodly rice and all the other stuff that he puts out. Terrible. I mean, I wouldn't eat any of the rice, but I'm sure we've eaten some of it that turns into big globs of a paste or something like that. Paste, big balls of paste or big balls of glue or whatnot. So we've got that, and then we've also got the fact that, well, if you consider owning that much land in those particular areas, this guy doesn't buy anything by accident. Do you think so? I don't think he's going to buy anything by accident. I think everything he has purchased is with a specific purpose. And that being said, that's a lot. Oh, yes, he is. We spoke about that. I think it was a few weeks back where we talked about how this cat literally, Sandy Aaron's Point, this cat literally wants to block out the sun. So, it all ties in. Yes, Gates farmland, yes. This all ties in, believe it or not, with the last days. It really does. It ties right in with understanding that the beast is a system, right? And it's several components and several people that make that system up. And so when we consider that and we start seeing people purchase up all types of land, I mean, $69,000, 69,000 acres, let me just tell you, is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you consider it's in Louisiana. Right? I mean, the last time that much land was purchased in Louisiana, it was the Louisiana Purchase. But then, of course, it went straight up and down. It was huge then before it became this little boot that we see now. But yeah, that's a lot of land. That's nothing to sneeze at. And with as nefarious as this young man has proven himself to be, you would have to know that there is a reason for it. Steve Willis, hey, how are you this evening? Deplorable. With the addition of certain additives, his farmland can become wasteland. Absolutely. It absolutely can. And Angela Cartwright-Callow says, and getting rid of livestock and meat. Did you guys see that this week, to Angela's point? Headlines with a Voice did an exceptional piece on some Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Everybody has gotten a little bit of Taco Bell in their lives. I mean, even if you're a vegetarian, I'm sure you stopped by there once or twice to get something. I mean, come on. Everybody and their mama has eaten something from Taco Bell. I'm a mom and I know I have. I don't mess with them now because I don't know what it is. Anytime you see a box that says for human consumption, in the back door of the restaurant while you're in the drive-through, for human consumption, I thought to myself, what's really going on? Is this the kind of meat that's that they put in prisons? Is what I heard later. That's what I heard. I heard that's the kind that they put in prisons. That's the type of meat. It's the mystery meat. What are we having today, Mom? Mystery meat. So what say you, Mr. Ronnie Man? Ronnie Man. What say you, Ronnie? Are you there? I hope you're there. I mean, gee whiz, I would hate to put him on the spot. That'd be terrible, right? Put him right on the spot and he's like, oh, wait a minute, I got a cup of coffee. I'm running back to the computer. But yeah, this guy's got some plans. Anthony Van Zant said, and throwing a wrench into independent agriculture, absolutely, which has been done for quite some time, right? It was done some time ago because if you remember, they started going out giving all the seeds to all of the farmers, and then as soon as and then they would take a little plot of land, and then as soon as some of the seeds would germinate or some of the birds or something would drag it over to another part of their farmland, they would sue them. Did you guys know that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Literally sue them. So what's going on, brother? What you got to say?
Oh, I'm just glad that I can be heard right about now on Saturday Night is Live. Having some technical difficulties on my side, but it comes with the territory. I find it very interesting that all of these things are accumulating and culminating at this junction.
Tell me about that.
See the dots. Well, if you see the dots and you connect them accordingly, and I'm not talking about the fuzzy dots. I'm talking about these specific dots. They put glasses on our eyes. I guess you can call it gaslighting.
The
Um,
movie.
they put these goggles on our eyes to see things fuzzy, and
Hmm.
and we don't have precision. We have a round and about, and I can even say assumption. But you have to take those goggles off, and once you do, you can see these dots that are on the page. When you connect them, it clearly is nefarious. It's insidious.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ronnie and I are so like, we're truly like a brother and sister. We truly, truly are. I mean, we're like, I've now adopted him as slash brother, could be a son, brother son, but that's creepy. But he's not. But he is. Here's what I mean. We are so in tune now. His wife, he, and myself, we are all sort of like right there. Let me tell you what happened. This story came, and then shortly after the story came, Ronnie sends the link, latter part of the day. And I said, well, I'm going to read it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to read it. I'm going to take your version, Ronnie, the one that you sent me, because the
Okay.
one that I had was from Epoch Times. I think it is Epoch News or Epoch Times. Um, I had that, and let me get yours because they removed the one from Epoch. Can you say
Did
what's
I
up with
send
that?
you a link from a mainstream media source?
You sent me one from mainstream, but the one that I have from Epoch
Okay.
was like, was like right there in your
Now,
face.
even though I don't necessarily subscribe to the mainstream media source, I
Absolutely,
still nonetheless like to take things from the mainstream media source
absolutely.
to give these some kind of standard of what
You better
generalized
know it.
acceptance
Yeah,
across the board.
yeah. It makes good sense, right? Because then you know what everybody else, you know how to share with somebody truth after you heard that lie. You can say, hey, wait a minute, I remember X, Y, or Z, right? And it makes it a lot easier for you. So here's the deal. Microsoft founder Bill Gates is now the owner of most, it says, the owner of the most farmland in the United States, according to a land report. The land report researchers conclude that Gates, now the fourth richest man in the world, and his wife Melinda own 242,000 acres of farmland. They own roughly 52,000 more acreage than the Offutt family, who sit at number two in land reports list of families who own the most farmland in the United States. So there are two families now that own the most land in the United States. That to me ought to be illegal because, especially considering that this guy has no good in mind for the people of the United States or the world. He's been kicked out of a couple of countries. How many countries, Ronnie, has he been kicked out of?
Oh, I couldn't begin to tell you. I couldn't begin to tell you. I just know that as far as the large population goes, he's not accepted. He's accepted amongst the elite.
Yeah, because he's possibly he's the one that he's actually the garbage man if you consider he's the one that gets
Wow.
out there and gets his hand dirty. He gets his
Yeah.
hands dirty. Follow
Right.
me. He gets his hands dirty, Ronnie, and that's who he is. He's the cat that gets his hands dirty. And it's like you send out the henchmen. The big man don't come out and go do the mafia work. I mean, they send him out, and this guy's got a lot of money though. And not only does he have a lot of money, he is constantly ramping up and being welcomed in so many different circles. He's constantly ramping up his rhetoric as it relates to the whole candy bar situation. He's ramping up everything, every single thing. And while we sit here not knowing what's going to happen between these two guys, one guy that's leaving office, and the other guy that's coming in, which is an absolute nightmare. That stuff's getting worse and worse.
Well, under that premise, I would venture to say that you would call him a goon. But
Come
since
on
he's
now.
very well off,
Hmm.
he's a goon for the for 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 the upper echelon.
Yes,
But
he
since he's
is.
very well off financially, I guess you could call him a mercenary.
Hmm. I have to agree with you on that. I never thought about it that way. He is Sir Mercenary. Huh. Huh. What do you think? I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing because he
Well,
wants to put himself so high up.
I think he might have been what approached to go ahead and facilitate that spot or what have you. And you know, when people get approached to a certain degree, they have already been vetted, so they know that they are going to the powers that be know what the answer is going to ultimately be, because at the end of you have to be able to be quote unquote bought, and these people are definitely bought, and we're just the collateral damage. It's not so much that they're trying to execute what doom and vengeance upon us per se. It's just that they're executing the agenda, that they didn't write. The agenda was written by their fathers, their forefathers, the generations before them, and the same exact what war plan is being enacted out throughout the course of history, and it's being passed down almost as an inheritance amongst the upper echelon, the quote unquote powers that be. So he is, like you said, the one who gets his hands dirty. He's the one on the front lines, if you will, to execute their ultimate game plan. And ultimately, like I said, we're a, for lack of another phrase, we're a lack of another term, we're an unfortunate collateral damage.
Unfortunate collateral damage. Do you think they see us as unfortunate collateral damage, or do you think that they just say it's par for the course?
Well, I mean, you can use, you don't even have to speculate. You can just use their lingo, what they've been caught saying. We're worthless eaters. So, I mean,
yes.
What do you want?
Yes. You go ahead and continue that thought. I'm going to pull some stuff up there, Ronnie. Go ahead and continue that thought. I'm going to start tinkering around in here. Useless eaters. Is that what you said? Useless eaters?
Yeah. We're definitely useless eaters. So it's amazing that they're trying to take the livestock out of the equation and give us false food. But if you look at it, they've been doing that on every facet, because everything that we ingest is considered quote unquote food on a cellular level, whether it be ingesting through the digestive tract, ingesting through the ear canal, ingesting through the nostrils, through smell, through taste, through touch. Everything is ingested food on the cellular molecular level. So they're showing you plain as day that, I mean, really, how come something has to be labeled non-GMO? You know that we are in a flip state of society, in a flip state of reality, when it has to be labeled non-GMO. Shouldn't that be the norm? But but it has to be labeled non-GMO, or it's food. Food is for consumption, but you have to have a label that says this food is for human consumption. It's just very interesting, to say the least. And like I said, nefarious, to say the most.
Let me ask you a question. Don't you think it's amazing that they actually have to tell us that something is organic? And organic costs more than anything. That right there to me is like the biggest sham. It's the biggest shell game.
Sign.
It's the biggest shell game. All fruit and vegetables should be organic. Let me get this right. You're going to take, rob, pillage, and rape the land, and you're going to put all this other stuff in it, and then after that, you're going to have a little bitty piece of land that you cultivate over 10 years according to the law, and then all of a sudden, everything that's there is considered organic. Creepy. That's creepy. What say you, Mr. Man? I got the rest of the stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and read this here. Hold on just a second.
Okay. While you're pulling that up, because I want to tie this into end times prophecy, of course, because that's my shtick, if you will. That's my that's my MO. That's my angle in every approach, because for the one who has ears to hear,
hey,
I am trying to get you prepared. I'm trying to get you prepared.
I'm sorry. I'm yelling at my son because he's literally in there doing all kinds of kooky stuff. Okay, go ahead. You're trying to get us prepared. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, I'm trying to get us all prepared. I'm just doing my part. And so when I'm doing these what analyses behind the scenes, I can link it up and see how all of these things, all of these things that are playing out in the current events are clearly biblical ideas and concepts that are playing out. We just have to be able to see it. Um, and then, okay, the majority of us actually do see it, but let's line it up and actually, on a not just on a speculation type of mindset, but on a matter of fact mindset. Let's point that out and say, yeah, that is A. Yes, that is B. Yes, that is C. And I think we can do that. And so once you pull up what you're pulling up, so you can read it off, I think I want to definitely tie it in on the back end to the to the scriptural events, and it's actually one of the same.
So there is, so see here, this here, you know what, you guys, Peter Collins, you're right on the money too. Everybody is on the money in this chat, except for my son Evander, who has headphones on playing Tupac Shakur in the kitchen. And then he's in there digging and everything and making all kinds of noise and driving me nuts. But everybody else in the chat, y'all on point. Mr. Man is in there in the kitchen doing his thing, him and Tupac's. But what Peter just put up here was Kissinger. I've got some stuff about that as well. I want to read to you guys and share with you all exactly what's going on with what he did some time ago. I'm not sure if everybody knows it or not, but we're going to be looking at the fact that Israel now has a bigger weaponry as it relates to nuclear weaponry than anybody else does or thought they did. And it was based on a trip that happened a while back. So you can get ready for that too, Ronnie, if you want to tap into that one. Also, we're going to be looking at a great story that was sent to us tonight by Sandy. Sandy sent us a good story. And that story is about Franklin Graham, how he sort of got a little upset with the GOP. But I don't think that he realizes, or he may realize it and just thought it was okay to say it right now, or yesterday or whatever. But I don't think he realizes that this thing has already been done. I mean, it's if you guys can look at how Pence cut up and how, but you know what the thing is that we already knew he was dirty, right? I mean, I got that intimidating mommy voice. Yeah, I do. And he owed to paralysis by analysis. But I mean, if you remember back when he was running originally, I thought to myself, but wait a minute, wasn't he and Paul Ryan, weren't they sort of like love buddies or something? Weren't they like hanging out or whatever? That's exactly what I thought. I was like, come on now, what is really going on here? So it's almost like they just fashioned they fashioned together the White House the way they wanted it to. And they may have given some, bitter, little bitty advice. Okay, so we want you to come, and then we want you to say this, and then we want you to act like this. And we know we promised that you were going to run, but you're not going to do it right now. Okay? You're not going to do it right now. We're going to let you do it later on. It's okay. It's all right. And so he and his cuddle buddy, they both decided we're going to just wait a little minute. And so, but in the interim, we're just going to keep a lot of ruckus going. I don't know whether you guys remember it, but when Mr. Pence was standing there talking about the whole candy bar thing, everything he said, he threw the president under the bus. Listen, we don't subscribe to anybody being better than the other, but we'll definitely talk about you if we see you wrong. It don't matter who you is, okay? So it was funny to me that every single 5 minutes what he was saying was, and the president has a great idea, and the president has come up with a this and that for the COVID, and the president this, and I'm like, wait a minute. Why would you ever, as a dual, as the vice president, Randy, what got me was, why would he take you're over this particular arm. Why does everything have to be the president? I know why, because he wanted to disassociate himself with all of those plans. Okay? That is exactly what happened. I didn't take your wrench away from you, paralysis. Took your wrench away from me. Hold on, let me give you your wrench back, boo-boo. So yeah. So to me, it's like this guy just threw him under the bus. Every single thing that he did, he made sure that we knew that it was the president. Yeah, he wanted us to make sure that we knew it was the president. It was not his fault. Everything that was going on, it was not his fault. It was the president. The president told me to do it. Well, this is the president's plan. Everything was the president's plan. And so when I thought about that, I said, this guy is just not even worthy at all. He really is not worthy at all. Anybody else notice your wrench gone? Let me know. I've only taken one wrench away from somebody. So you weren't one of them. So if anybody else notices your wrench is gone, let me know. So he did. He threw him under the bus. And I want you guys to understand, which I'm sure you all know. Well, I'm sure he was. Well, because Sandy, you and I both know where that cat's loyalties lie. See, that's the reason why we know that all this stuff is not real. This is how, Sandy, this is how we all know that this stuff's not real. You know how? We know it's not real because how can Jared Kushner be the buddy of somebody else and we get him that close to where we can go and nab him? This other cat that he's really close to, Jared Kushner, he was so close to where we could have all grabbed him. All you would have needed was a butterfly net. All you would have needed was a butterfly net. I mean, we're supposed to be ones looking out for this guy, right? To get this guy, right? To get rid of this guy, right? But now you've got all these two-faced individuals in your camp, and I don't know if he ever had anybody on his side. Like, I even made a comment when we did the video about Susan B. Anthony. I was like, does he have any friends? Does this poor guy got any friends? So it just lets us know that it's not even about what he knew or didn't know. Because the things have played out the way that they have, we can all say with surety, he was a part of the plan. He was a part of the plan. And who did he use the most? Who should be most concerned about how we were primarily manipulated by a card shark? The body of believers. That's who.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
who. That's who.
I would say that they need a scapegoat, but they don't have they have the dossier for the scapegoat, but they don't pin that dossier on anybody to be that scapegoat just yet. What they do is they see which way the public popularity is going to fall, and then they pin they pin that dossier on that particular person that doesn't get the popularity. Mm-hmm. If it played out differently, then the other party would have been the scapegoat. Like you said, it's not real. It's not real. It's all designed to execute their ultimate game plan.
So then here's let's think of a really weird thing. Okay? The weirdest thing that you can think of as to what will go on after the show. After this big circus. Yeah. Because
like the interchange of power.
Yeah, I want you to tell me the weirdest thing, and then I'm going to tell you. You and I talked about what I thought about, and I'm going to share with everybody else. But you go ahead, and then I'm going to listen.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to hit what we have talked about, but I can definitely land me back off of what Black Spring with Autumn said in the chat a little while back. A financial collapse. Of course, one can't tell. One can see certain signs, but one can't tell. But yeah, but since you're just, throwing hypotheticals out, financial collapse. Let's go.
I think that, and remember, you guys, this is all speculation. This is what could happen. Okay, what's the craziest thing that could happen after, they switch the mantles over from one cat to the next. Okay, these are not things that are. We're not using our spiritual gifts to tell you, this is what's going. No. We're not doing that. We're just throwing out there what could happen. If you guys want to, you guys could throw stuff in the chat too. But the way that I see it is, it could be that they decided, well, after he's in there for like a week, he stopped remembering things, y'all. We had to do the 25th on him, and now he's gone. And of course, the other lady, or they could wait. This is what we were saying. They could allow him to get right there to the door of being inaugurated. Maybe that morning, early in the morning, right? Or the day before. And then they decide, well, he's unfit. But in those cases, it cannot be Camel Toe Harris. She cannot go and be the president at that point. She can't. She's stuck at being the vice president. And then they wheel in the Ironside character. She'll be in a wheelchair because, well, she's probably propped up like Weekend at Bernie's. But in the wheelchair comes. Dun, 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 dun. Let me give y'all the
Skeletor.
face. No, here go the face. Here go the face, y'all. Let me show you. My name is Hillary, and I'm here to be the first female president of the United States. Oh, that's her cane in her hand. You see that? You got to shake it with vengeance with the kids that get on your yard. Get off my yard. Get out of my
I would
house.
venture to say, that may lead to financial collapse as well.
Well, that and the fact that she's got a nice little fingertips, that little chrome-looking finger, ready to push the button because I promised 12 years ago the first thing I was going to do was I was going to push the button on them. And she'd be ready to do some stuff. But the funny thing about it is she'd have to possibly beat Israel to it because they are really, really doing their mess. Now
Yeah.
my wrench really is gone. What are you talking about? Paralysis by analysis. What are you talking about? You asked me for your wrench back. I didn't take it in the first place and I gave it to you. And now you're saying that it's really gone. I pushed the button. Where's your thing? Poor baby. That poor baby. Mama's baby. Let me see. Oh, man. Somebody did jack you. I jacked you because you said you didn't have it. So I went and I pushed the button. I didn't read what the button said. Anyway.
Look, that's exactly what the government's doing.
What they doing? Pushing buttons?
Yeah, pushing the button. Oh, you said it ain't, so let me push the button. Now it is, and it's in reverse.
And it's in reverse. And there you go. Say something right now, Paralysis, so I can see if it pops back up. But Hillary is going to look like old Biff in Back to the Future.
Yeah, talking about shattering the glass ceiling.
He says she gonna look like Biff in Back to the Future. Let me put that up here because that is hilarious. You remember what Biff looked like? You guys remember what Biff looked like? Don't be acting like y'all don't know nothing about Back to the Future. Back to the Future, I'm telling you, that's what they trying to do to all of us every time. According to the book that I was reading, every time you have a little bit of in Matrix, what they say every time you have deja vu, you bump it up against something else. Lord help us today. I don't know, but anyway, that was funny. So let me ask you something. Do you think that that could be a possibility? Because what if, for whatever reason, this whole entire thing was done just to get his cousin in? And by his, I mean, Mr. T. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not really up to speed on the what air like the order of how it would play out, but whatever it is, it's not going to be it doesn't matter. It's not say we got Superman. Say Superman came in.
Okay. So
Like awesome, prolific, all American, like really wholeheartedly all American, really, for the people. And he came in. This is a house of cards. We're not gonna fix it. We're not gonna fix it. We might do some maintenance work. We might do some patch ups. We might, cause this leak to slow down and cause that leak to slow down, and then fix up the joint here and there slightly. But we're not going to. This is a house of cards that is crumbling, that is falling.
tell us about the story you sent me earlier today. Show us how that relates to what's going on. Do you remember the one I'm talking about with the guard that was standing there, and it was the whole? I think it was almost.
Yeah,
like
and I just find this fascinating. Because if you look at the beast system, the reason why we call it the beast system per se is because of how it is portrayed in scripture. And so Daniel sees the king's vision that he had in a dream, and what he sees are beasts. And then one easier to translate. Well, I guess that's that all depends, but I'll translate it this way. There he sees a statue. So the statue has parts, the head being the top and down to the feet. And he also sees a leopard, a bear, a lion. He sees a actual beast. And these two visions are actually the same exact scenario that is being played out through world history. Hence beast system. That's where we get that terminology, the beast system. So when we get down to the feet are iron mixed in with clay, and the clay. So that lets you know that it's really not that this kingdom that is iron mixed in with clay is still strong because it's iron, but it's not really like really strong because it's mixed in with clay, so it's not adhering as it could or should or they would like it to be. So that iron portion of that quote unquote beast on display is the Roman Empire, and then the clay that is mixed in is the offspring of that Roman Empire, which are the European powers that came from the Roman Empire. So that and when we fast forward into time, we that is the power structure that we are under currently. We are under a European power structure. And what's interesting is, so I seen some current events. There's a prophecy in Britain. Oh, don't get me lying. King William? I want to say King William. He they put up a fortress. Now this is real. All this is accurate. Go look it up. That a raven has flown the coop. The bird has flown the coop. So when you look, what he did is he put up a fortress and he held prisoners in that fortress, and he put ravens in the tower to just irk their nerves all day long, all night long. And those ravens have become a mainstay since what? The 1100, forever, since King William, in the British Empire. And there is a prophecy by the Brits themselves that says if one of those birds, if they were, there's 6 birds total. If one of those birds were not to, stay there, then the kingdom will fall. The tower will crumble. And they just found out that the queen raven of the 6 ravens has flown the coop. They can't find it. They've pronounced it. At first they pronounced it AWOL, then they pronounced it MIA. Now they know that she's dead, but she's nowhere to be found. So I just find that very, very interesting. Like I said, in this juncture, at this time frame, that there's a prophecy amongst themselves that says that they will crumble, they will topple.
This, every time you start to bring things to light and pinpoint all of the stuff that has to do with Bible prophecy, I just want, I really get excited. And I get excited because that's what the word tells us, that in these days, that type of stuff's going to happen, where people will begin to see stuff, you'll begin to understand at a better level. And so I'm just going to toggle here because I want to bring light to this here. I want to bring light to it. I'm going to share the screen. And I want you guys to take a look at this. This came from Sandy. And she sent it to Felicia at FeliciaLockhart.com. But this story is really something else, because let me see here if I can pull this up here. There we go. I think that's not, no, we don't want that. We want the link, that right there. Here we are. I'm not sure if you guys can see that yet. Okay, share the screen. And we'll share screen 2. Gee whiz, this is creepy. No, it's going to be screen 1. Yeah, that's creepy. All right. That looks like a million me's. Wow, that's creepy. Gee whiz. Whoa. Look at that. That's nifty. I haven't been able to do this on a computer in so long that gee willikers, hey, look, I'm like a person who's never seen blue toilet water before or pink toilet paper from back in the 70s. Let me get this thing right. I don't know what I'm doing to get it right. But I'm going to read it to you guys is what I'm going to do. And hopefully that will be sufficient. Sandy sent this to me. Yes, I said blue toilet water and pink toilet paper from the 70s. Y'all don't be acting like y'all mama and them didn't have no pink toilet tissue. Y'all know we had that pink toilet tissue. But anyway, it is Christian evangelist Franklin Graham slams Republicans for taking 30 pieces of silver from Nancy Pelosi in the Trump impeachment. In the Trump impeachment, that's what they believe that happened. Poor Mr. Franklin Graham. Wow. Okay, so here's the story. The controversial evangelist, if that's controversial, I don't know. Gee whiz, they ain't seen some of the other folks. I mean, what was the other controversial evangelist if he's controversial? So it says the controversial evangelist Franklin Graham has compared Republicans who voted for Trump's impeachment as Judas. In a Facebook post, Graham compared the 10 Republicans who voted for Trump's impeachment to Judas Iscariot, the notorious apostle who betrayed Jesus after being paid 30 pieces of silver. He began, quote, "Shame, shame on the 10 Republicans who joined with Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in impeaching President Trump yesterday. After all that he has done for this country, you would turn your backs and betray him so quickly?" And these 10 from his own party joined in the feeding frenzy, he continues. It makes you wonder what the 30 pieces of silver were that Speaker Pelosi promised for this betrayal, end quote. Now, it came a day after the representative voted 232 to 197 to impeach Donald Trump for his role in inciting the Capitol riot last week, making him the first president in history to be impeached twice. Count them, 2 times, 1, then 2. Buckle my shoe, that's what they're trying to say. So it continues. Those who voted for his impeachment included Liz Cheney, the U.S. Representative of Wyoming and the third-ranking House Republican; Graham, who is the leader of the North Carolina-based charity Samaritan's Purse and the son of late evangelist Billy Graham, has been a staunch supporter of the outgoing president. In the run-up to Trump's first impeachment on December 2019, he promoted T-shirts that said, "Pray for 45." And on them, on Twitter, using a photo of his daughter, and added the caption, "The Bible instructs us to pray for our leader, and Donald Trump needs our prayers." That's what he said. So now in January 2020, Trump created an evangelicals for Trump's group, but his support from the community has declined in the New York Times exit poll, showing that a drop from 81% in 2016 to 76% last year in 2020. All right, so primarily what he's saying here is this isn't nice. I don't know why you guys are doing this. You shouldn't be turning your backs on him now. You guys need to stand up because God tells us to pray for the president. You know, I'm going to tell you something because I have not seen it. I have not seen anything where God tells us to vote for them. I see he tells us to pray for those in leadership, but here is where I made my mistake. I can't speak for anybody else. I'll just say me. Back in 2016, my mindset was, you know what, Republicans are right, conservatives are right, you know, everybody who is opposite of the left is right. That was such garbage. I believed that. You know, even though I wasn't, you know, a Republican, I was definitely a conservative. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let's get him in there. Let's, you know, forget about her. We don't want her. Yeah, come on, come on, come on. Man, I was supposed to be rooting for our father in the first place. And I am sort of glad that all this stuff happened the way that it did. I believe that God, our Father, is going to protect us no matter who is in there and no matter what's going on because we belong to him. Okay? I believe that our Father, is going to take care of each and every one of us. All right? So what I'm looking back in retrospect is like, how could I have been so stupid? Well, that's my question to Mr. Franklin Graham. How could you have been a part of this big working machine, which is the government, and not felt like you were a part of the problem? The problem is that we were all bamboozled. We were supposed to pray for them and go and get out the way. We were supposed to pray for them and we were supposed to move our tails out the way. Pray and move out the way. That's what Roy Potter always says. Pray and stay out the way. Prep, pray, stay out the way. Prep, pray, stay out the way. That's what that's one of his I love that phrase. Prep and pray and stay out the way. That's what we were supposed to be doing, and we got wrapped up into this whole thing. Ronnie, what do you say?
I have something just very brief. Like if we're praying for our leaders and in this thought process, of course, we're talking about what the 45. So if we're praying, what are we supposed to be praying for? What is ultimately always supposed to coming out of our lips? Of course, praise, but as far as what we're praying for, we are supposed to be praying for Yah's will to be done. No matter what happens, no matter what goes down, no matter what we're faced with, no matter what you think, no matter what I think, no matter what the situation is, we are always to ultimately pray for Yah's will to be done. Psalms 2:10 says, therefore, you kings, be wise, be warned, you rulers of the earth, serve Yah with fear and celebrate his rule with trembling. So this is the thing. When we're praying for, we got it kind of twisted. When we're praying for our leaders, we're supposed to pray for Yah's will to be done and that they have the wisdom to execute Yah's will being done. And like you said, after that, get out the way. But I mean, if I'm just backing something that is unrighteous or that is, in a quote unquote worldly terminology, something that is wrong, just because I planted my flag on this side, and regardless if it's right or wrong, I'm standing behind it. That's not what we're supposed to do.
That's right.
But if we're doing that, then in fact we are in the wrong. And I can show you scripture. I'll have to look it up, but I can show you scripture where it says that if you're praying wrong, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be heard.
You're praying amiss.
You're praying amiss.
Yeah, you're praying amiss. Yep. So I think that was the lesson for us, you guys. I think that it's okay. Everything's going to be all right for us. You know why I say that? Because we learned our lesson. I think that, yes, it was people like this poor guy who is saying, now what's going on with you guys? What did she give you? No, it wasn't what she decided to give them, player. It's what she decided she was going to show us about them if they did not do what she wanted them to do. It ain't got nothing to do with what she promised them or to give them. Don't you understand that Skeletor is not going to give them something? She's going to give them an ultimatum. Either you do what I say do, or I'm going to show these pictures of you to your grandkids. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show everybody your business. That is what I'm going to do. I don't think she promised to give them anything because she doesn't seem like the giving person. Anybody who rocks, $22 ice cream cones, she's old Pete's. Yeah, I think that's exactly what she promised. What do you think? What do you think that it was something that, do you think that it was something that, like Graham says, that she gave them or promised to give them? I don't think so. What do you think?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, there's always a trade-off. So, I mean, what was it? Who knows? Who knows? Is it being fulfilled? Who knows? Is there chaos behind closed doors because I promised something that I can't fulfill, or I promised something that I reneged on? I mean, who knows? Who knows? Speculation.
Speculation, absolutely is speculation. But I appreciate you, Sandy Aaron, for sending us that story. It does put some perspective and lets you see exactly where everybody's mind is, right now, including those who are the people who are still in, in the clergy or in the cloth or however you want to look at it. Let's see here. There's a little breaking thing that came out earlier today. Wanted to read this. Trump could be in trouble as a state prosecutor makes a decision. Gee willikers. And none of them are ever on the take. So this has to be something serious. Wow. A prosecutor in Atlanta is among those in the state considering opening up a criminal investigation into President Donald Trump for challenging the state's controversial election results, according to a report. The New York Times reported that a Fulton County District Court Judge Fannie Willis, a Democrat, is taking the matter under serious consideration. No determination has been made about the possible criminal probe but it is reported to be on the table. So it must be stemming from the video, the audio that Georgia, the cat in Georgia, sent out. Let's read a little further and see. Much of the anger from the state Democrats is reported to be over the January 2nd phone call between Trump and the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, per David Worley, who is the only Democrat sitting on Georgia's state election board. The Washington Post obtained the recording of the call on January 5th, in which Trump laid into the secretary over what he saw as either obvious election, messed up corruption at the state level. And there's a transcript of the call from the paper that showed Trump laid into him over voter discrepancies. Trump lost Georgia by 11,779 votes, but he cited voting irregularities, such as dead voters casting ballots on the call with Georgia official. Now it says, quote, the other thing, dead people. So dead people voted, and I think the number is close to 5,000 people. And they went to the obituaries. They went to all sorts of methods to come up with the inaccurate number, and the minimum is close to about 5,000 votes, Trump says. The bottom line is, when you add up all of that and then you start adding, 300,000 fake ballots, and then the other thing they said is in Fulton County and other areas, Trump says, according to the Post transcripts. But Brad, if you took the minimum numbers, were many, many times above the 11,779, and many of those numbers are certified, or they will be certified, but they are certified. Lord help this man today. And those are numbers that are there, that exist, and that beat the margin of loss. They beat it. I mean, a lot, by a lot. And the people should be happy to have an accurate count instead of an election where there's turmoil, end quote. Okay, I can't read any more of this. But here's the deal. We should have known that they were going to try to take somebody to court over this stuff. We should have known it. We should have knew it. We should have known that was going to happen. He should have known that's going to happen, that was going to happen. That's the reason why I feel the way that I do about him, because that's crazy. You're getting on the phone with this cat, and everything you do, they're going to be monitoring and watching everything. To me, if I was not ready to just get down and put my elbows in it, you know what I'm saying, Ronnie? If I wasn't ready to just get in there, let's come on, let's go now, let's go. If I wasn't going to do that, I would have just packed up and rolled out early versus all this other mess. That's how I know. That's how we know that, yeah, you're part of the problem. You are. Well, you're part of the problem, player. You're part of the problem.
Like you said, if you're not willing to get your hands dirty, but specifically if you're not willing to get your hands dirty, roll up them sleeves and get up out of this ditch, then we're gonna fall victim. We are going to be a part of the disaster. We're not going to be on the sidelines looking from outward, looking in, saying, wow, look at this great disaster. We're going to be screaming and hollering in the midst of it. We need to roll up the sleeves and get out of Dodge.
So, we were talking the other week on our blog talk with Black Spring, you and myself. We were talking about preparedness, and there were some great things that you had brought up about the mindset, and we're probably going to finish that part of it next week. But what do you... What you just said, add what you just said to what you were talking about the other night about being prepared and how to do it, and you were also tying it into the what prompted us to talk about it, which was the church, more importantly, ecclesia being the church.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So the historicity of a lot of people coming into wanting to, seeing that there is a problem with this structured government or what have you, and trying to come out of the bi-party system and find their quote unquote sovereignty, if you will, throughout all of this, and then establish something that will regain or reestablish your rights as an American a solid regaining of your rights as an American. And that thing that has been portrayed is the assemblies.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it interesting while I was listening to that conversation piece that this is actually the historicity of the matter. The assemblies is actually something that is called in biblical terminology is called the ecclesia. And ecclesia or ecclesia in the Greek means assembly. And I find it fascinating that this is the very thing that the quote unquote, well, I'll say the believing community, this is the very thing that the believing community was called to establish. We were called to establish ecclesia, ecclesias. So we are establishing ecclesias, and what we're doing is we are pulling ourselves by sometimes by the bootstraps out of the construct of the political climate, and we are establishing and rooting ourselves into the truth, which is just happens to be on the contrary to the flesh. It's all spiritual, so you have to be led through wisdom, and that can be a touchy subject in and of itself. But the fact remains is that the assemblies is actually a mimicry of something that is established and commissioned and called to be established by Yah himself. Yeah, that's just the tie-in is remarkable. So what I'm getting at is that, well, what we discussed actually, or a portion of what we discussed was that the erosion of our rights under the quote unquote Constitution, the United States Constitution, it is well at play as we speak. So if we are establishing an assembly based on those rights or amendments or inalienable rights, how viable is that establishment going to be as far as future tense? It can only be but so, because they're already eroding it out from underneath our feet. So if we actually want to move towards assemblies, we should look at the structure of what the biblical assembly is, which is the ecclesia, and root ourselves on that rock where there is no erosion.
I absolutely like it. So, you guys, what do you think about that? I mean, because remember, we had those awesome dynamic guests the other night, and they were really good. Demita and the other young lady she brought with her were just dynamic. They were able to talk to us about, what they had going on in New York. I thought it was so good, and I still do. I think it's a great idea, and it's just not for me. It's not something that I could do, and I don't have time to do something like that right now. I wish I did, so my support was to allow them to come on the channel. But the next day, Ronnie gave me a call, and he says, "Hey, I got something I want to run by you." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" He said, "Look at this." And he says, "This is something I've always known. I've researched it, and I've done a lot of looking in it and all this good stuff." He says, "But hey, did you know that whole concept comes from the Bible?" And then he showed me. He showed me where, and he showed me how. And I was like, what do you know? Is there nothing? I mean, it's almost like everything that's good usually does come from there, right, Ronnie?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, at best, it's a mimicry of the principles that the Bible lays out, and at the worst, it is a usurpation of what the Bible lays out. Either or, they clearly have took a page out of the ultimate game plan, and they've called it their own. They put pretty, colors on it, and worded it slightly different, and put new characters in play that will, establish leadership. And then they move in a slightly separate direction. And throughout the course of history, you end up thinking that is what it is, and it always and it always is. But if you actually think about it, the dichotomy has always been there, and that's the Greek, the ecclesia. But we know that the Romans took over the Greeks into the Greco-Roman era, and then into just the flat-out Roman era. They just, when they come in, they colonialize the whole situation, and everybody and everything becomes Rome. And so they adapted or adopted that concept, and then we see it being played out today. And it's the same power structure struggle. You have the assembly, which is the ecclesia, and then you have the governing power that is, and we're always at odds, even today.
Well put. Well put. Well, we've got another story that we can touch on, and I want to talk about that too. There's been a lot of stuff, like I said at the top of the hour, you guys. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on. So, a massive Syria strike and an Israeli message to Biden. What could that mean? Let's see. Let's dig a little deeper, shall we? Besides an apparent renewed effort to disrupt Iran's attempt to move arms and militias through Iraq and Syria, there's a strange message that Israel will continue to strike regardless of the new president's Iran policy. As reported earlier in the week, Israel appears to be taking advantage of the twilight period between the two U.S. administrations to set up the pressure on Iran and Syria before dawn. Wednesday, an airstrike attributed to Israel took place, the fourth in less than 3 weeks, this time in eastern Syria. The targets were in the Deir el-Zor region and to a lesser extent near the Abu Kamal border crossing with Iraq. More than 10 targets were hit, including headquarters and Iranian weapon depots. And then the Deir el-Zor strike took place in a relatively densely populated urban area. The move looks like a renewed Israeli effort to disrupt Iran's efforts and send weapons and Shiite militiamen via Iraq into eastern Syria. The raids also send a message to the whole region: Israel will continue to attack based on its operational needs, regardless of the transfer of power in the United States and the Biden administration's intention to renew talks with Iran on the nuclear deal from which Trump's team withdrew in May of 2018. Ronnie, what do you say?
These things. Look, I'm gonna be a broken record this evening. These things are clearly telltale signs that we are entering into the next phase of the age, whatever terminology you would like to call it. We are definitely here. If we're not here, it is clearly at the precipice. We are like, the door is cracked and you can see glimpses of it, and we're just waiting for that one thing to just come through and just kick the door wide open. And these things are playing out. I would like to say that I was in my journey through studying, I was rummaging through scripture, and I did notice that one of the end time things, I was telling this to Black Spring with Autumn and the Lockhart Perspective the other evening. One of the things that will play out in the last days is that Damascus will fall. And when we're looking at it in the scripture, it's speaking of it hindsight. It says that Damascus has fallen, and it's in shambles, it's in ruins. And historically, Damascus has never fell. It has since its conception, it has been Damascus. It has always been Damascus, Damascus. So, like I said, end time scenario, Damascus is gone. So that is a telltale sign to me to look out for, current events that have Syria in play, and just watch out, because as soon as we see Damascus, we see it periodically. in the news as far as these quote unquote wars and rumors of wars. But when we see it, taking a front headline role, it is definitely time to pray.
Ronnie, you were talking the other day when we were chatting about prayer and the different types of prayer and the
No,
different, and actually, let me digress for a second. Let me correct myself. You were speaking about prayer and the difference between that and having a standard conversation with our Father. You were also talking about the fact that it's not necessarily everything we say to our Father is a prayer. Will you break that down, because you just said it, and we've been talking about pray for everybody. Pray. I'm going to say this little bitty thing that's nothing compared to what the heaviness of what you shared, but it is still something that should be said. When we pray for our nation, it's exactly what Ronnie said, right? It is praying the will of God in the situation. Father, whatever your will is, let your will be done. I think the safest way to address our Father is exactly what the Father said to the what Yeshua said to the disciples when he said, you know what, when you pray, say, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That right there to me is very powerful. But would you please explain? I don't want to get off on a tangent on that, but I do want you to explain, if you do not mind, just a small piece of that. And I guess you're not there. He must have taken an identification break, a station ID break.
I apologize. I did not take a station ID break. However, you are watching the Lockhart Perspective and Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night is live.
Saturday Night is live, and we are so happy to be with you guys. Let's go ahead and take a quick break anyway. It is 1 hour into the show, and I want to thank you guys all for being here with us. Now, we want to play a little catch up, tell everybody what's going on. For those who are just now, joining us, we are the Lockhart Perspective. I am Felicia Lockhart, and this is the Lockhart Perspective. However, next week, we are going to have a dynamic guest. Are you excited, Ronnie? I'm excited. Are you excited?
I want to see the insight of what's going to go down next week on Saturday Night is Live. That's going to be, I'm excited for that.
I'm excited. I'm humbled and I'm excited. And we are going to have none other than the author, the writer of The Matrix and the Terminator. The original book was The Third Eye. The Third Eye is the book that was one whole compilation, one whole big piece. And what you ended up seeing when you saw The Third Eye in parts was the Terminator and the Matrix. Matrix 1, Matrix 2. I have in my possession right now Matrix 4. I'm excited to have Miss Sophia Stewart with us next week. I wish it was tomorrow. That'd be exciting. Next week, the 23rd of March, if the Lord say the same and the creek don't rise, Miss Sophia Stewart will be here with us at 8 o'clock next Saturday. And she is going to share with us some pivotal things that we will actually be able to see from the author and the writer's perspective, what she meant when she wrote what she wrote. How did we lose some of the translation of what she actually wrote? This woman is a dynamic author. She is a very nice person. She's also a physicist, mathematician, a brilliant lady. And she is the one who put the book together. Yes, she is. And as you guys know, there was a big turmoil or a big bubble of turmoil that went on regarding the book. Regarding the movie that they were actually putting into a movie form when they just decided to go left and run off and do what they did. And there's public record of the lawsuit. There's public record of her winning the lawsuit. And then they sort of drug it out forever because, as you all know, when you got somebody that is as famous as these people that did the thievery, they were able to hold it up in court as long as they possibly could. But here's the sweet piece. The sweet piece was there was already all the documents were already signed. All the agreements, had already been made. All of that good stuff had already been done. And then, bingo bango, there's some weirdo that's running around with just looking like what was the name of the little girl in that movie that we saw with the what was it? Jessica, what's her face? Jessica Hyde. There's a grown man running around looking like Jessica Hyde. Talking about he wrote it. I don't think so. There's no way that a sound mind could then turn into that. But nonetheless, I digress. That will be next Saturday. Sophia Stewart, you'll start to see the commercials. Oh, you got that, didn't you, Ronnie? You got it, didn't you? You got it. To coin a phrase from our sister, Black Spring, so I see you're picking up what I was putting down. Is that where you were cracking up laughing? Because you were picking up what I was putting
Absolutely,
down?
but I
Yeah.
don't want to pick that one up. I seen what you put down, but I'm gonna leave that on the floor.
I love it when she says that. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, I love it. So Anthony Van Sant says politics is scripted to contrive unrest in dualities. Baby, I don't know what that says. Order out of chaos. Yes, sir, that's right. Sherry B, good question. And Lockhart Discord would be sweet. Oh, I think I do have a Discord. You guys know what? I got a whole bunch of channels and little doodads and stuff. And then somebody will mention it to me and I'll be like, oh, this is a great idea. And I'll push the button. It'll say sign in, which means I like a lot of stuff. But I'm not a pack rat in any way. But sometimes I do feel like I'm a pack rat with some of these little different things. Because there are a lot of little things that I have. Now, there are things that I do know. I do know that I am on library. That is done on purpose. My whole entire appendix is over there. This one will be over there. I am also on Odyssey. That's done on purpose. I am there on purpose and it is over there. I'm also on BitChute. And I'm also on Brighteon. Brighteon done on purpose. All that's on purpose. Also, we are on, I want to say Anchor podcast. Also, let's see, Spotify. There's lots of places that we are on purpose. But the main ones that we are on purpose is the one where you're going to see the majority of the work there, right? I am dedicating this full time now. And I'm not going to say that I'm dedicating you. I'm not going to be dedicated to YouTube full time. I am dedicated now to this full time. It's time for me to start walking in the calling that God has put me in, and I'm going to acknowledge that and just do this. So, sink or swim, eat or don't. This is what He taught me how to do. And there's a great scripture that talks about, Ronnie, you know the scripture I'm talking about, the one that says that, He'll give you witty inventions and the things that you know how to do. That's how you're basically going to eat. You made a good point the other day when you said about Paul being a tent maker. You remember that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is
Absolutely.
that. This is that. So it won't just be YouTube. I will be active every day on one of those platforms or another, but I will put it up on YouTube's community where you can find me on that particular day. So whatever it is, whatever is going on, I will be live on one of those platforms or doing something on one of those platforms. What do you have to say there, Mr. Ronnie?
I think that's an excellent gesture as far as future tense for what the future holds for you. And I think that as far as perspective goes to your viewing and listening audience, I think that it would be most beneficial all across the board because you do have a wide range of guests. You do have a wide range of topics that you do address. And you also have more in store that you haven't really hit yet because you did have to divide your time up. But moving forward, now that you are, quote unquote, dedicated to this full time, I think we are in store for treats. Definitely a treat.
I love treats. Treats are good. Treats can get us in trouble. You eat too many treats and get too many eats and treats and sweets and baby. But anyway, I'm glad. baby, fit in my belly. So I don't know, I'm so excited about it. And it's like, I don't have that fear of, oh my goodness, what are they going to start doing, censoring this and that? Listen, God is going to have a way. The Most High will have a way for the truth to be out one way or another. And I believe that we can have a good time doing it. I also believe that at the same time, we can bring education to people who don't know. But the people that are in the chat right now and those who will be watching on the replay, and even that one person who gives me that thumbs down, thank you so much for that thumbs down. It just keeps the algorithm all happy. Anyway, You guys are all co-laborers. I said that earlier. We are all co-laborers in this. The subscribers are co-laborers. They're not followers. Let's follow. No, we're all co-laborers in this together. I just happen to be the one with the big mouth. That's all. I just happen to be the one that's sort of corny enough to just get out here and do it. And I'm happy that I do have other people that are with us that are here to do it as well. Yes, I'm looking at some of these comments in the chat, and they are absolutely accurate. Anthony Van Zant says investigations and sealed indictments and plastic impeachments are designed to distract as censor, silence, and cherry picking dissent and technocrat crawl continues. Absolutely. That's exactly what's going on. And it's okay. Let it happen. Let it do what it's going to do, because we already know who's in control of all of it, right? Love in the Midst. Hi, Love in the Midst. She says, hi, Black Spring with Autumn. Lovely to see you. Great, great, great. Susan, wait a minute. Paralysis earlier on talking about he got his wrench back. He said, thanks, Mom. He's too much. Okay, he is too much. Love in the Midst.
I have one thing to say.
Okay, go ahead.
I have one thing to say.
Go ahead.
And I quote, 5G Willikers. That's all I'm going to say.
5G Willikers sounds like one of my phrases, something I would come up with, right? Okay, let's see who we got here. That was a good one. 5G Willikers. Oh, G Willikers. That's funny. I like that one. 5G Willikers. Let's see. Love in the Mid says, watched. They live again, and it's even more incredible as this goes on. All right, so let's see. It's theater to engineer, accept censorship and boots on the ground, technology's unconstitutional overreach, and the currency reset. And that's so funny to me. You know that we all know this stuff is going on, and these people are so mentally ill that they literally keep pushing this lie. And it's like, dude, we see you. You do know you're not hiding behind that tree, right? I mean, you're like yay big, and the tree is like this big. You do know we see you, right? Go, Ronnie.
Well, the bubble bursts. The bubble never bursts. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And as it gets bigger, we get more confident and more confident and more confident. It will never burst. That's
what you saying. It will never burst. The bubble will never burst.
The bubble. The bubble. They'll back it and back it and back it and back it, and put into it, and work ever so slave statusly. Just put in effort upon effort upon effort to sustain it. But I mean, the sustainability, we'll say it facetiously, it will never burst.
The bubble's never gonna burst, y'all. It's never gonna burst. Nothing gonna ever happen to the bubble. You heard Ronnie Man say it. Nothing gonna ever happen to the bubble. Bubble gonna be here. Bubble
you heard it live.
The bubble, yeah, you heard it live. The bubble will always be here. The bubble's not going anywhere. The bubble was designed to make you stay and live in fear. Fear was the motivation behind the bubble, ladies and gentlemen, and that's exactly what the bubble was here to do. It was to incite all types of fear and stoke everything. Speaking of incite, Ronnie, did you see what just happened the other day? Who got arrested for taking part in that whole big brouhaha on the 6th? Up yonder. Did you see who got arrested? Somebody got arrested.
I saw a couple people, but I saw a CEO. I saw a couple people, but I saw somebody who they said was, from the Black Lives Matters movement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but do tell.
Do tell from the Black Lives Matter. You say it.
Yeah. What I did is I just skimmed through the headlines. I didn't go into great depth.
Well, I did, because I'm nosy like that.
Okay. Yes. Do tell.
So we're gonna say it in the best colloquialisms of it all. We're just gonna let it out there, okay? But we're not gonna say it all. But we're just gonna colloquialism a little bit here. We're just gonna we're gonna put a little slang on it. We're gonna put a little slang on it. Are you ready to give some? Are you ready to partake with me on this? Taking into some of this slang.
Right? Oh, let it do what it do.
Okay, so we're gonna roll it out.
Let it do what it do.
Roll it till the wheels fall off, my brother. Here we go. So it looked like Homeboy, right? Homeboy was from, I forgot what state he was from, but apparently he was arrested in the state that he was from originally, right? And then what had happened was He was found saying what he was going to do with him and his homeboys when they all went up there on the 6th of January. Yeah, that's what they did. And they were saying how they had snuck in. He said he snuck into the window. He saw the window glass being broke. He jumped on in there and he this and he that. And he did all of this other stuff. But here's the funny part. He was already held up on some charges already. And they already knew that he was one of the founders of an organization that is a spinoff from the let's see, how can I say it? B, and then the I don't know what to use for the L. Oh,
The llama?
What?
The llama?
Okay, yes. The Be Llama man. Be a llama man. Man, be a llama. Be a llama man. It was part of the Be a Llama Man organization. Man, what's going on, Be a Llama? Yeah, that's what it was. And so apparently, it looked like to me, if a lot of these black folk don't quit doing this crazy stuff that's going on, that these folks is giving them 25 cents here, 25 cents there, they're going to be a whole lot of them in jail. Yeah, because apparently there have been a whole lot of folks that's been doing some wrong stuff, and all that wrong stuff that they've been doing. It's so funny to me that each and every one of these people that we can see that are doing the bad stuff, these folks are doing the bad stuff, and these folks are actually getting caught up. And while they're getting caught up, thinking that they something that they not. I'll let that sit there for a second. They're letting their minds get caught up, and they're thinking that there's something that they're not, and they're getting caught up, and they're going to jail. They're straight up going to jail. Did you see the Hispanic lady that I believe the state was Texas, where she said on camera to Project Veritas that she, and I'm quoting here, that she was responsible for at least that she could count close to over 5,000 votes and much more than that she could get them, for X amount of dollars, she can get them 15,000. She said this on camera. And then she also said that she was afraid to get in trouble. So please don't tell nobody. Child, please. She didn't even know who she was talking to. It was too late. Did you see that, Roddy? Did anybody in the chat see
Come
that?
on, man.
Did you see it?
No, ma'am. But that's just ridiculous.
She stole it. She stole it a whole bunch of votes. That's what she did. She stole a whole bunch of votes. She was paying like $1 to $5 for the votes. And she was right there, and they arrested her the other day. There in Texas, they went ahead and picked her up and took her on. They took her rump on, took her to the pokey. And I ain't talking about the Poconos. They took her to the pokey. Yes, they did. That's what they did with her. She's gone. And she should be. And so should the cat that thought that he was going to get away with it because he was a part of the what is it? What was I know the llama part, but I forgot my letter. What was mine?
It was the bee.
Oh, it was
bee
just
llama.
a bee llama. That's right. Okay, this is a bee llama. Yeah. And he thought that he was just something special. But these folks better get their heads out of the sand on this stuff here. They sure better. And they better do it quick. I think we were talking. I know I was talking to somebody else, and we were chatting. It was a family member. We were chatting about how lucky this guy is going to feel, the one that's coming in a minute here, when he gets in office, and he's going to see all the stuff that everybody is attributing to him. Now, first thing, did anybody see how everybody is happy about the $2,000? Everybody and their mama. Oh, he's just know what he's doing. I'm telling you right now, man, that man is good. I tell you that. It made me so angry because it's always us that buy we always go with the banana in the tailpipe. It's like we just cannot be, we're just we're the easiest people to lie to. And then we want to act like we're just so woke. The black community gets me bothered by this because everybody is saying, oh yeah, man, because he going to give us that $2,000. I'm telling you right now, he going to give us that money. Yes, he said it. Did you see that on the news? That's what he said. I'm like, dude, where do you think the money came from? I'll hold. It's the same tactic that they're using now, saying that when he gets in office, he's going to basically have this money that was set aside. I think it was $250,000 or $250 million. It was a bunch of money, but it was set aside for him to, not for him, but for whoever was going to be the president. We read it a few weeks ago. How it was going to be pretty much money that was going to show that there was some peace deals, and it's going to pretty much make him look like he is a hero, but he ain't. And it's all all a big gigantic ball of mess. So now everybody's running around happy to get $2,000, but you really happy because your great great grandkids gonna still be paying this debt off? Are you really happy about that? You really happy? Y'all see
The
what they just
bubble,
did to them? Say it again.
the bubble will never burst.
You know what I think of every time you say the bubble? Every time you say the bubble, I think of like a literally piece of bubble gum. Just it's a big piece of bubble gum, and then it gets really, really, really big, and then you have to take it out of your mouth so that it will bust. You know, because it's just a little big.
But if you notice when you blow that bubble from the bubble gum, right, you get constant because it's getting so big and it hasn't bursted yet. So, you take a deeper breath, you blow more air into it, and then you get overconfident, you keep on blowing. And then now you want to see how big can this bubble get? Now you're going for, to get the biggest bubble possible. And, you know, I just find that analogy quite stimulating.
I think that the way that you teach bubblification is off the chain to me. I mean, man, you just had the bubble going, and you was talking about the bubblification of the bubblicious and the bazooka-macation of it all. You're amazing. All of the bazooka-isms going on. I mean, it's just amazing.
You
So
know how
yeah,
Joe get.
say it again.
So you know how Joe gets, Bazooka Joe.
Oh, Bazooka Joe, he got to always have a little quiz too to give you a little quiz, a little comic strip. But I agree with you. I think that there's going to be some really funny stuff going on. It's really some. I don't know, you guys. This is the worst circus on earth. It is absolutely the worst circus. Now, there's a few more stories here. We got some really. I love it when you guys send stories to the channel. I love it. It just does mean it just makes me really happy when I can go there and I can see some of the things that you guys that you guys are into and you're reading, and you send me the little videos and you send me the stories and stuff, and I think it's outstanding. I'm really happy. I'm really happy. I want to say thank you to everybody who has sent something, and I'm really elated. Now, here's another thing, you guys. We're just getting into the candy bars. As we mentioned the candy bars earlier, let's see. Israelis are getting their second vaccine shot experience more side effects, and here's why. Here's why, ladies and gentlemen. They got a reason for why they're getting more side effects. There's a reason. There's a reason. Now you get another side, and then you're getting this other shot now, right? And you already know why you're tripping. Stay still. This is not going to hurt one bit, but you're going to have some more side effects this time. And here's why. Experts explain that the side effects Israelis are experiencing after their second dose of the candy bar, such as fatigue, headaches, and muscle aches, are our immune system at work. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't your immune system being attacked. It's not your immune system. It's not your immune system boxing around like the dancer off the Lemonade video from Rihanna. No, it ain't that. It's not it's not anything boxing around feeling like Tyson and Evander Holyfield is going crazy in your bloodstream. Nothing like that. It's because it's working. It's working. That's the issue. It is working. So, as Israelis begin receiving the second jab, yada yada, of the C virus, they have been reporting more frequent and sometimes more severe side effects compared to the first dose. One of Pfizer's findings in clinical trials, the second booster dose does cause physiological reactions more frequently. That is not unexpected. It is the second stage of developing an immune defense against the virus, which is intended to further hone in. It's going to hone in and focus on the immune system and deepen its memory of the virus. About 0.1% of people who received the first dose of the vaccine reported developing side effects. Most of them were mild and short-lived. Similar to the side effects of the inoculations, these included soreness and slight local irritation, redness and temporary restriction of movement at the injection part of the arm. Now, according to Pfizer's data, The side effects experienced after the second injection are also a mild pass and are mild and pass very quickly. For most, they just last a day or two after the injection, and most common is just the soreness at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle aches, dizziness, joint pain, and sometimes fever. The professor at Tel Aviv University says these side effects are more accurately the responses to receiving the second dose and expected, not only undesirable. They're expected and not undesirable. Did you get that? They're expected. You should expect that. And you shouldn't feel any way, shape, or form that this thing is an undesirable issue. You should take it. And you should be happy that you got it. It's a good thing you got it. And the pain that you have is going to be gone in a couple of days. What do you think?
Well, you're not experiencing what you're experiencing. It's the flip. See, that's the and like I said, I'll be the broken record again. We are in the invert. We are clearly in the invert. It's and then the scripture tells you, there's going to come a time where good is considered bad.
We're in an upside down world right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in an upside down world right now. Right now,
Right.
this is past upside down world. Yeah, we're done. We're done. We're way past. We're way past upside down world. We really are. So I don't know what you think about this, but have you noticed that there's so much stuff going on right now that nobody is focusing on what's happening in Israel? Nobody's really talking about that. I mean, you may hear a couple of little things here, but it's always going to be painted as Israel good, the other guy bad. Israel good, the other guy bad. But have you noticed that? Have you noticed that all this stuff is sort of silent? Did you notice that? Did you guys know about all the cattywampusness going back and forth? Everybody taking apples, having apple buys over there in Israel. They're apple buys. You know what an apple buy? It's the safe version of a drive-by from Compton, California. It's an apple buy. You get a bag of apple, a big old bag of apples. You just have an apple buy. So you guys probably didn't hear about a lot of the apple buys, or did you? Did you guys hear about them? Did you hear about them, brother? I know you probably did.
Yeah. I'm definitely in observation mode, but it's I've said this before too. I'm going to be content with being the broken record. It's the Kansas City Shuffle. It's the Kansas City Shuffle. Let us look left while everything is going on in the opposite direction.
Look over there. Look over there. Don't look over here. Look over there.
Right. So it's headline news, but it's sidelined by the circus.
It's a lot of stuff they're throwing on the wall. There's a lot of stuff they're throwing on the wall. Really, really a lot of stuff. It looks like Susan Donahue is a little hungry. She says paralysis by analysis. Catfish is real good eating. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story about a catfish that I had retribution against. That's right. I'm going to be honest. That's right. I'm going to tell you guys the honest truth. I exact my revenge on a catfish in Missouri. This was several years ago. This gigantic catfish used to get on my line and take everything. He took my bait. He took my tackle. He took my test, my line. He took the weights. The bait, the lines, everything. He took everything. And he did this a couple of times. So, Ronnie, man, do you know I had at that point about a 10-pound test. 10, 12-pound test, because you're figuring we're just going in a little pond. It's not going to be much. Anything bigger than that. This big old thing took so much of my stuff that I got tired. And I said, okay, that's it. The next time it gets on my line, I'm going to get what I came here to get. Now, I don't eat catfish anymore. And there's specific reasons why I don't. It's a very fatty fish. But at that time, I tell you what, it was some good eating. I went ahead to my favorite store on the planet. Do you guys know what my favorite store on the planet is? I got a couple, but this one's my favorite. I can go in this store and I can stay there literally all day. Bass Pro. So I went into a shop, but this one This one was really nice. It was really nice. So I went into the shop, and as I'm in the shop and I'm looking around, I'm looking for all kinds of stuff. I went to the test, and I'm starting to look at the test, and I'm like, okay, this one's 20 pounds. This one has 50 pounds. 100-pound test. That's it. Took it off. Put it in a little cart, a little hand cart thing. We got the little hand cart. Stick it in the hand cart. And I'm do 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 do. Then I get over there, give me some more weights, throw them in there. And the guy that I met was like, "What are you doing?" And the man that worked there says, "Ma'am, you don't want to fish with that. They're gonna see. They're gonna see. As soon as you stick that in the water, they're gonna run away." I said, "Anything that gets on my line gets taken to the house, gets cleaned, gets taken to the house, and gets put in the frying pan. That's what's supposed to happen. It's not supposed to take off with all my stuff." From that point forward, I caught everything that I went out to get. Every single fish that jumped up on my line went to the house. Every one of them. We sat out there and cleaned them with the well water, washed them down really good. Cut them, filleted them, did all that good stuff out there, took them home, put them in the freezer, and ate them up. It's exactly right. That's the way that it should be. And that's just to the story for Susan Donahue, ladies and gentlemen. That's for Susan Donahue. Susan, that story was just for you, soul sister, because you understand the good eating of catfish. And you understand the good catching of some catfish. So that was just for you. That was just for her. Ronnie, man, don't you agree?
Yeah, and you know what? You said that as, just spur of the moment, but you can actually take those principles of what you just said and apply it here today.
Come on with it, my brother.
You got a big old catfish. You have a big old catfish that keeps on snatching okay, we're colloquialisms, right?
Yeah, we're doing
they keep on snatching your
stuff. Yeah, we're doing all slang tonight. So, we're not going to get in trouble. My mom, your mom, our parents are going to get us. We can use as much, slang as we want. Okay.
Well, you speak for yourself. My mother will pop me just for no reason at all. But moving forward.
You hear me yelling at my grown kids? I hit him for anything. I'm like, come on, put him up, buddy.
My mom will pop me and let me know, that's for something that you might do.
That's what you did that I didn't see.
Exactly.
That's for that Captain Crunch that you ate, and I found that big old mixing bowl up under the bed.
But first of all, what is this monstrosity of a catfish doing in the pond? Like, you are big enough to be in, big boy territory, and you're in the shallow waters. So first of all, you're in a place where you really shouldn't even be, to be honest. Putting your filthy hands on my stuff on my line. And, you took preventive measures. You went to your favorite place.
That's right.
You went to your favorite place.
Mm-hmm.
You hung out there. You picked out all of the things that you deemed appropriate that you would need to counter and to battle and to fight this monstrosity of a catfish that shouldn't be putting his hands on your stuff.
Mm-hmm. You better make this plain. Do tell.
I will. I mean, the principles of it is sound. And so while you were saying that, I'm like, yeah, this is a story, but how this story relates is actually the spirit moved you to talk about this catfish, because I'm not going to go into detail as to how you should apply this, but we're speaking on a broad spectrum, the entirety of it, like the topic, all the mainstays that you keep on bringing up, these headlines, all these headlines. It lets you know where to apply this catfish story, or where to apply the principles of this catfish story. You got a big old critter just swimming around, swampy, just living it up in your pond and snatching your stuff. What do? You take precautionary measures. You go to the place that you love to find the tools to use to battle, and then you win. You overcome.
And I overcame too. I did. I was an overcomer on that day. When I went back out there that next weekend, because that's all we did every summer. When I went out there that next weekend, I did a nice little cast, soft cast, not no crazy one, but just a very soft one. Sometimes I'd even go a little under. Let it go ahead and fall down. I took my chicken livers and wrapped them up in the brown stockings, the old church stockings. Wrapped up that chicken liver and then stuck that hook on in there, and then I cast it on out there, and I just waited a couple of seconds, and then I saw a tug. I didn't touch nothing, no. No, sir. I let it roll. Then I saw tug. Ah, here it come now. Here it come. Then all of a sudden again, tug, tug, tug. I said, okay, I got you, because you done ate that right there. That was just a nibble at first. You wanted to see if it was going to do something. And then you tapped it again. I mean, you really do want me to take you to the house. So let's go ahead on and get it. And that's what I did. And I took it to the house. And every single thing I caught after that, I took it to the house. I did not care. I exact my revenge on that big gigantic fellow. And then I think I saw
And
him, that big gigantic fellow. See, okay, now look, you guys, you know that the story can be that it was that big gigantic fellow. He was so big. He was so succulent. He was so large. And he really wasn't big at all. He was a little bitty minnow, but it wasn't a minnow. This was a big guy. But then, you don't want to eat that big guy anyway because it's not going to taste good. You get that big, big, big fish that's been that old thing that's been rolling around the bottom of that pond, and he just been doing his thing. And it was a woman who owned a pond down there in Missouri, out in back in the sticks. And she would have catfish brought in on one, and she had some other fish on another one. They would just come on through there. They had a big spring that ran through it. And it was just cool, just delicious. You go catch it and you eat it. But like you said, if it got on my line, it was time to go to the house.
and
It was
the
time to go to the
fascinating
house.
the fascinating outcome when it's all said and done, I am wholeheartedly on board, and I agree with you. And I also do this or do not do this as well. I no longer partake in catfish.
Well, I don't either. I don't eat it either. I don't eat that either. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't eat anymore. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that's doing me some bad that I am eating. So I need. I mean, let's just
Right.
talk, ladies. Can we talk? I mean, seriously, ladies, because we can all sit here and say, "Well, I don't eat this and I don't eat this and I don't eat that." Well, whatever you are eating, you need to slow it up because I may not eat a whole lot of stuff, but what I am eating apparently ain't agreeing with me because I've been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I started out when I had all black hair, now I got gray and black hair. So I don't eat it either. I mean, that's just biblically. I don't. But hey, listen here. Sandy Aaron says, the lesson I learned from landing a big catfish: make sure your oh my
Your
god.
pants are not too loose, else you might end up with your pants around your ankles by the time you get that sucker in.
I wish there was a way we could give her an A. Man, oh man, I'm just thinking she is not joking. That's crazy. Deplorable said we used to treble hooks with fresh mussels on a hook. There you go. There you go. That's how you got to do it. I wanted to move to Missouri so bad. Beautiful place. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes. And Mama Bear, Papa Bear said, me neither, at Ronnie. I don't know what that was, but I know they agreed. And Deplorable says, I have never eaten fish, but I have caught hundreds and released them. I'm going to quickly get off of this message because whatever comes on the line goes to the house. Fish are really smart. They live in school. Sandy, you are on one tonight. Does artichoke
Somebody's on it.
She's on it. She's like on it, on it, on it, on it, on it, on it, on it. See that? I do my cheerleading dances now. On. Okay, let's see. Does artichoke consumption really help with hair color? I'm a master cosmetologist and I got a license and a degree in it, to be honest with you. I never heard of that. It might. I don't know. I don't know. Randthen. I don't know. Let's see. Susan says we had a bit of a shake. Sandy Aaron, I see what you did there. See? Pretty good, right? Treble hooks, yo-yo reels. Sandy. Okay. So you guys, we've been here chomping at the bit for about an hour and 48 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it on up. But it was good to talk to you guys tonight. It was great. We are excited And next week, as you all know, tell your friends, listen to the commercials once they start running, because those will start running possibly tomorrow, as early as tomorrow. And then they'll start rolling throughout the week. You'll hear the same type of commercial for our guests coming on the show next week. A week from tonight, we're having Sophia Stewart, who is the original writer of The Matrix, of The Terminator. The Terminator. Who said that in a movie? She's not an old lady. She's the Terminator. Anybody remember who that was? Ellen! Throw Mama from the Train. You guys.
Oh.
You guys don't remember what Billy Crystal said when she bopped him real good? There's a murderer in the house. You guys remember that? Did anybody here but me see that? I got to look at my cell phone so I can see the responses to this awesome question that I posed to the chat. Did anybody else see the show that I'm talking about right now while I'm talking and you listening and we talking together? Did anybody see it? Thanks, Felicia. You're the bee's knees. Thank you. I'll be back. Yes, I'll be back. But did anybody remember that phrase that I just did? And it is from the movie Throw Mama from the Train. I love that movie. Leave Desi, do you remember that? Where he goes, she's not an old lady. Where she knocked him out and he was laying on his side. He was laying down. He goes, oh, she's not an old lady. She's the Terminator. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. And then I used to love the mother. Bless her heart, she's passed away. Throw Mama from the Train, that's right. My friend. Now get him up before he starts to smell up the place, you stupid poop. You guys remember that? That was hilarious. That's exactly what it was. Those are the good days. I mean, those are great shows. Ellen! Mama Bear and Papa Bear said, I just remembered a little and I love it. Yep. You guys, we're right at the 2-hour mark. I want to tell you guys thank you so very much for indulging me in my cuckoo-ness tonight, as well as some of the fun stuff that we talked about, some of the unbelievable things that's going on now, and some of the unbelievable things that's going to be going on next. The thing we need to keep our eyes out on, as far as some of the things that we talked about tonight, keep your eye on the Israel issue and situation. Because if something great and catastrophic happens here before the 20th of next month, I guarantee, of this month, I guarantee you, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. In all seriousness of everything that we talked about this evening, it's going to be something else. So that's what we need to look out for. You guys, I want to remind you, and Ronnie, I want to tell you thank you. You have anything you want to share before we close out right now, sir? You got anything you want to share?
Yeah, we can go on and on actually, but I'll close it out by saying this: be vigilant.
That's something good right there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Lockhart Perspective, and we had a good time talking with you tonight. But the one thing that I want to remember, every single one of us, is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. You guys take care and be blessed, and we will see you all again real soon. Real soon. And so don't forget, invite somebody to join us next week right here on the Lockhart Perspective. You guys take care.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Love